with Omar. Glad to have you here. Today's special guest is somebody that I've been working with for a very long time, but he's more behind the scenes. And I want to bring him in front of the camera today, and I want to go over a few different things that I think a lot of people are kind of miscategorizing or misusing or maybe misinterpreting. And the major differences I want to talk about is advertising, branding, and basically media, like the three different pillars of what we're supposed to be doing. And the special guest is JC Polonia.
Thank you.
Little clap there for him, for JC right there. So yeah, you're in advertising. You're in the advertising space. You own Digitality Marketing, right, out of Mount Kisco. We're actually in the studio right now. And what do you feel is your biggest challenge when dealing with a new client? I know you have a lot of clients, and you don't have to name anybody specifically. But what do you feel is one of the challenges of getting a guy or a girl who's never done any type of online marketing or advertising and explaining to them the importance of it?
It's a great question because it's not just with clients. So this isn't specific to like business owners. We've noticed it even with interns who are wanting to come into the space, and it's not knowing what part of marketing you're looking to do or get into, right? So I'll bring it back to the business owner. If you're looking to, let's say, generate leads specifically, and you're ROI centric and you're looking to purely have numerical numbers, you can go the paid advertising route, right? And then say, hey, PPC, which is pay-per-click, Google ads, things of that nature, or Facebook ads, but that's all you're doing. Right. You're going to be on this hamster wheel. Now, mind you, I love performance marketing, right? Listen, I love paid advertising.
It's easy to kind of metric, right?
Exactly.
Quantify. Yeah,
it's the first thing that people want to see because they don't know the power of brand and marketing as a whole, because it's also instantaneous. Everybody wants instant gratification when it comes to this stuff. So it's like, hey, I put in $1, I'll get 2 out, I'll get 3 out, et cetera. I can see it within 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. But then the moment you shut that down, there's nothing else.
Nothing happens.
So you're always subjected to just like money in, money in, money in, money in. And not only that, but it becomes 10 times of a harder sell if you don't have brand or you're not marketing outside of just paid advertising. So the first thing that I walk through with potential clients, business owners, interns, anybody who's looking to get into the space and understanding is, what are your goals? What are you looking to do? And what would be the most beneficial thing for you right now? We've had opportunities.
What is the most common answer on that? I need more business.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Well, right. I need more business. Yeah. That's honestly the most common thing. And it could be just, some people do say, hey, I just want to be in front of everyone. Right. And it's like, beautiful. Okay. So then that comes down to, what are you doing now? Oh, I put on a paper ad. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a start. That's something. Yeah, absolutely. Have you done any content before in the past? It's like, oh no. It's like, okay, why not? I just didn't know how. I didn't know what to do, right? Or what to talk about. So content is at the center of everything. Regardless if you're talking about branding, if you're talking about marketing, if you're talking about advertising, you need content in order to get it out to the world, because then if not, there's nothing for others to see. Right. So that's one of the biggest things, is just getting them aligned with what are the different components and why you need each thing. And ideally, you want to have all of them firing at the same time. It just expedites the process.
Teachable moment here. So content, to my new up and coming entrepreneurs, is basically IP, intellectual property. So make sure you trademark, patent, whatever you have to patent before you start pushing out your content, or you might get a cease and desist. Just saying. Just
like saying. The show, Real with Omar, that's it.
Real with Omar. It has a patent, so don't reel with nothing, because I'll come get you. I'll come get you. But this is just be student of the game, right? Like, if this is a new world we're going into, know how to protect your assets, because what you're creating is actually an intangible asset. I mean, without getting into NFT talk and shit like that, but people just put things out, and if somebody pirates their thing or just copies it, which I think is a form of flattery, they get upset, but they don't know how to protect themselves either, right?
And that's a big component here too, is a lot of people get into this not knowing the repercussions that come about from it. Right. So this also goes to like, how do you want to live your life? There's been many moments where even we've been together, you get stopped in the middle of the street. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I see you on social.
What's up, my man?
That's exactly it. Yeah. To a lot of people, that's uncomfortable. Right. Like, they don't want to have or be known everywhere. They just want to do their business and things of that nature. And they just want to be behind the scenes, which is totally okay. But then don't say you want to market.
Right.
Don't say you want to get out there. It's like, why are you complaining about eating when the goal is to have the plate full?
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was exactly the part. So, and that's important. There's a whole legal aspect too. Like just the simplest thing of using the wrong music in your content, right?
There's so many down and pulled.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think one of our videos got pulled down for that. But okay, no big deal. It was in the beginning. We didn't know any better. So all right, so you went back to content, but I want to break something out. So my strategy when we first got together was basically branding enough and creating enough of a context and a narrative of who I am and what I do to then eventually funnel into paid advertising just to get them to see my content faster. Do you feel that sometimes people go the other way? They just want to go paid advertising, and let's say they get calls, but nobody really knows. They actually, I feel it would be harder to get somebody to call you directly, knows nothing about you. Now all of a sudden has 1,000,005 questions, and I think the whole the whole concept of having content out there is to kind of get the easy questions out of the way, right?
It's the know, like, and trust factor.
Okay,
that's what content really does for you. When you jump into paid advertising and that's all you have, you get on the phone with somebody, you're like trying to take them to bed when really you haven't even gone on a first date.
So it's almost like a cold call.
That's exactly
in reverse.
Right. You're a little bit closer because it's not like you're just buying the data and it's just like, here's a phone number, here's an expired listing, right? For anybody who's in real estate. These are people that opt in and say, hey, yeah, I'm interested in what you have, but I don't know who you are yet.
Right.
I need to get to know you.
Another concept is trigger data, where people pull their credit in my business, but you know what they pulled it for. It could have been a car, could have been a credit card, or mortgage, but we used to buy in the 90s and early 2000s. We used to buy trigger data leads, and we just have a redundant dialer, a system just calling.
Yeah, and then at that point, if they're opting in for that moment, they probably did that to 42 other people.
Absolutely.
So you have no leverage per se.
Yeah.
Whereas if somebody finds you, number one, organically, or number two, has been following you for a long time already, they already know who you are, they know what you're about, they know your results, and they already trust you without even getting to know you. And that's the purpose of why you want to continue to brand and market outside of just running ads every single day.
And that's in essence, that's the long game, right? Like I was having a conversation with a young kid, shout out to Ty, you know what I'm talking about. And he's trying to launch a hair product thing. He has like long hair or whatever. And he was like, yeah, I'm waiting for everything to be right. And I'm ready. I was like, bro, be first. You can fix it when you get there, but try to be first. What are you waiting for? Well, I didn't push enough of this. I didn't push enough of that. I was like, you don't got a 9 to 5, bro. So what are you doing all day? So I broke him down during Christmas, but he'll be fine.
I think people forget that too. It's like this need for perfection stops you from even making a move at all.
But isn't that your own self-limiting belief mindset, or rather your insecurity? Like, yo, I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's good enough.
Absolutely. And the worst part about it is that they're stopping themselves, number one, from moving forward, but number two, learning what will work after.
Right.
Because you can spend an entire year thinking through a game plan, and it might not be the right one.
Right.
The market might turn around and slap you in the face and say, you put in all this time for this one thing, and it didn't work. It fell flat on its face. Whereas if you would have put out 10 to 20 pieces between that time frame, within one of those, they're probably going to hit. And then you say, okay, I need to do more of that.
You get some feedback.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So application over theory.
Absolutely.
All the time. When you have a client and they're like jobbing you off, like the first part of it, like you said, is creating content.
Yes.
So you need a lot of behind the stories, just a lot of, I don't want to say filler, but rather like how do you fill out the story, right?
Yeah.
Before I go eat at your restaurant, or before I buy your product, or before I call you for your services, what is it that you think people should know about the particular venue?
You want to give them what your experience is, right? If you're a service-based business and that's what you're talking about, you want to showcase the environment. You want to showcase the teachers, right? If we're talking about yoga studios or martial arts studios, we're talking about a restaurant, you want to showcase the food. And you want to showcase people having a great time, because that is the moment where someone who's watching that and scrolling through social, they can picture themselves there.
Right.
They want to feel that, especially if you're doing it and your competitors are not, you're going to win them over. And then if you're, let's say, an authority figure, what you want to do is educate your actual listeners or your client or potential clients, but you want to teach them what you do do, how you do it, and why you do it. Because that's what's going to give them the confidence to be able to reach out, because you never know what's going to be that one piece of content that somebody says, oh, wow, that was really helpful, specific to my situation. I see that you're the one that can help me. Right. So now I want to say hello, or I want to ask the question, and then the rapport starts building from there. But that moment would have never happened had you not put out those 10, 20, 30 different pieces, because you don't know who needs what when. So It's important to stay consistent across the board.
So giving them, like you said, I think it just goes down so subliminal in terms of imaging and people like you see a certain brand car, you associate that with a certain lifestyle, with a certain happiness, with a certain type of person, and all of a sudden, right, you just create this whole connection with a place or person or thing based on the way an engine sounds. I'm just using a car as an example, or the way people are smiling at the restaurant, or seemingly they're having fun at dinner, and you're like, oh, I want to have fun with my family too. I should go there, right? Like, but people don't understand that you gotta show it. You gotta show it for people to see it.
Because if not, they don't have anything to connect to, right?
Right.
What people forget about brand is specific, and this is something I've struggled with for a long time personally, because I'm data driven, right? Okay. So I live on the performance side because I know it, because of the same fact that I can speak to it. What happens with brand, it's not just about what your logo is. It's not just about what your color scheme is, or your fonts, or your palettes and things like that. Brand is a cumulative just assimilation of everything that you do as a company and as a person about how it makes others feel.
Okay.
Right? So those moments, I'll speak to you, right? So let's say somebody that comes in from social, whatever the case may be, they reach out to you. From that point of interaction, even before that, because of all the content that you had, to the end of your closing transaction, when you send out, let's say, the Moscato or the champagne on the close of it, you made them feel special throughout that entire process. And people forget that brand isn't just external, it's internal to the business. Yeah. Absolutely. Like if your customer service sucks, if you're not responsive, if people think that you don't care or you don't make them feel good along the way, that affects your brand both on and offline. Yeah. And that's really, really important. People forget that. They think that they can hide behind a really nice logo.
Right. Well, having great marketing, great advertising works if what you have is good.
Yes.
And I would say, like, for a product or commodity, being first is better. For service, you have to be the best. Yeah. You have to be the best, right? Because you can drive them in the door, but what the experience when they sit down or whatever, like buying a car, getting a haircut, getting a massage, like there's a whole, you can go to any type of industry. The service was going to make the people become a client instead of a customer. That one time, I'd say one time is a customer. Yeah. More than that, it's a client. And you want to make clients. You want to accumulate clients because you don't want to have a constant turnover, because you're kind of like on a hamster wheel.
It's more than the transaction. Yeah. That's the difference. It's like customers are transactional, clients are not.
Right.
Clients are relationship based. And there's different concepts. Like obviously there's fiduciary clients. Like you have concepts depending on the industry that you're in. But if you know that somebody comes back because they love what you did, you no longer have a customer, you have a client. And that's really what it comes down to.
And what's funny is that there's people that are more like nickel and you say transactional fiduciary. I use nickel and dime. When they nickel and dime places all the time, you feel like I really believe the statement I heard a long time ago, where is that your clients are usually a reflection of you. And if you nickel and dime all the time, expect to be nickel and dime and don't get upset.
Yeah.
Right. Usually, just I'll tell somebody, hey man, I just want the best service. I say, make enough that you don't feel like you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
But this might be a regular thing, so think about where you want to make it affordable, where I won't think of it too much. And that's usually how I kind of close the deal in terms of when I'm buying something, because they, I've been buying cars from the same guy for 10 years. Like you go to different places and you're like, just do the right thing, and I'll do the right thing with you. And I think that speaks for itself. But when opportunities come up, they call you first, right? Because they know that you're that dude. So when you have a client and a prospective client, let's say, and they don't know the internet game, the advertising, the media game.
You mean like 60% of them?
Yeah, okay, there you go. So I mean, what is your biggest pain point in terms of like pricing? Do you have a pain point? Is there a particular thing? They're like, but wait a minute, why is it this much?
That's a great question. So when I first got started in the business, I always wanted to over-deliver in everything that we did. So I made the mistake originally, and not a mistake, because it depends on who you're talking to, right? The people who might be for lack of better words, ignorant to the concept of like, how do you value each of these services?
Right.
This is where it applies to more. But anybody who understands like, hey, production is production, right? So it's like,
to the regular people that are watching,
well, yes.
What do you mean production? What does that mean exactly?
So like actual content creation.
So, all right. So somebody follows somebody with a camera. I'm breaking it down for
Yes.
you because you're not doing a good job. So you get one of your shooters, let's say an editor or whatever, a cameraman.
Sure.
He follows the person around. They do, let's say, I don't know, 8 hours of data,
actual
right?
shooting.
So data, we have data. And now production is when you take the data and you sit down in front of it and you look for usable pieces of content.
So I would pause there. Production is the actual day.
Okay.
Right. So
okay,
like the production is the day. So like right now we're shooting a show. This
Right.
is production time.
Right. Okay.
Right. So it's like it costs money to have 4K cameras
And lights.
everywhere. Right.
Yeah.
The lighting everywhere. The audio. The
makeup.
mics. I don't know about the makeup yet, but
the good looking filter.
all of that comes into play, and this is your production time. Right. So you go anywhere, people will charge you just for that. Like if you go to rent a studio,
Right.
it's like
right.
nobody behind.
You can
the
use
camera.
it, and you pay us, and good luck.
And that's exactly
And whatever
it.
comes out is on you.
Is up to you.
Right.
Right. So like you have the production. That's production. Then what you started to get into was like the post-production now.
Right.
So it's like after it's shot, what the hell is usable?
Right.
What
right,
is
right.
good, right?
And how do you make it look as good as it can be?
Exactly.
Add the lines, add the words. I don't know what you call that.
How do you make it social first?
Right.
That's what it comes down to, right? So that's when we get into like now the social media part, which I'll add that in, but I'll stick to the post-production for a second. Depending on where you want your content to live, it should be produced in a different way.
Okay.
Right. So it's like even within social media, there are certain platforms that prefer or you're more inclined to put vertical content out. Right.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you're shooting it that way. When you're editing, there are particular subtitles that you want to use. You want to make it specific to the brand of the person or the company as well. Right. Whereas if you're going to, let's say, a website, you're not going to go vertical. You're going to go landscape, which just means horizontal. Right. But it's a lot more cinematic. Right.
Okay.
It's not necessarily just value based or just every single second has to be entertaining, but it's the storytelling behind it. And you can do both a little bit on social, but it really depends on where do you want your content to live.
And what you're trying to do is actually predict where people consume your content the most to then make it look best for that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Even subject matter. And it's not even just how you produce it, but the subject matter of what you're speaking to. Things that you talk about for Instagram will not be the way you talk about them on LinkedIn.
Right.
Right. It's not contextual to
Different
the people
people.
that are
Yeah,
there.
different people watching.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The audience changes completely.
Yeah.
But back to the concept of the pain points was just separating the value of all of the services that we delivered individually within one package, let's say.
Right.
Because we knew that all of this was necessary for you to succeed. So we wanted to put it together, wanted to find a moment that could allow someone to say, hey, I have an entire in-house marketing. They take care of everything from start to finish.
Yeah.
But it devalued each individual thing.
Right.
So it's like all of a sudden it's like,
They're
it's
they minimizing certain things that could live on its own, right? This could be a thing right now. Yeah.
Absolutely. So like we'll have people that will go like, oh yeah, I want to take out the ads, but I want to add on more videos. It's like, wait a minute, hold on.
Same price. Though.
And so things don't change per se. It's just a matter of us trying to give you more value, right? Because you need them all. You need them all to succeed. It's just a matter of how quickly do you want to do it, and that's how fast you put into it. So that was one of the biggest pain points starting out was getting people to understand the value of each of the services and still giving them everything that they need to be successful.
But how about I feel like when we first got together, I understood it was gonna be a process because I kind of knew like we had the talk and I was like, this is what I want. I don't know how, but and then you I was like, this is what I want. And I know it's gonna take time, so I said I figured about a year, maybe 24 months to kind of get rhythm because we have nothing going on right now, and I think that's I'm unique that way because I kind of understand. Like I had explained it to you. I know we have to have like shit in the internet to talk about it. Like we gotta have shit. Like I saw your Instagram thing and I went to your website. You don't have a website. Like all little shit like that. I thought it out. I was like, people are gonna look, they'll get inquisitive and then they'll want to deep dive, right? They'll Google, they'll do this, and I figure they'll do 5 or 6 searches before they'll maybe contact me. But I'm sure you get other people be like, yo man, I paid you for 30 days. Why is it not popping yet?
What happened? I wanted this tomorrow.
Why is it not popping? Why isn't the line out the door yet?
It's been the best answer now, and thankfully they've gotten bigger, right? Like now you can point to social influencers that are out there, right? The Tony Robbins, the Gary V's, the Dean Graziosi's, etc.
Bradley.
And Bradley,
Shout out to Bradley,
real Bradley. You can point them out now, and you can say they've been at this for 7+ years. You're just started. Right? You had nothing to start. Do you think that you can just walk down the street, say hello to somebody the first time, and they'll give you their number? Maybe. I mean, it depends on how good looking you are. That might be the case. How much game you have. But usually that's not the case. They're not going home with you after that. You need years of development, years of building up the muscle. Those first 30 days, you're not even good on camera. Forget the fact that it's only 30 days, but you're not even good enough at the skill of presenting information, of delivering value, of entertaining for you to even say, oh yeah, my audience should be watching this. Yeah,
or even being intentful, right? Because in the beginning you're like, what? I remember my first couple of videos are pretty robotic, because I was like, this is the way I'm gonna look like forever. This is how people gonna remember my shit. Hold on, let me sound more intelligent.
And then you started realizing it was like, oh no, it's about just being who you are.
Then you get a little bit of fatigue. You're like, yo, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, I think we discussed it, and I was like, look, if they like me, that's dope. If they don't like me, saves me time too.
They also still already know you. It's like the people who are gonna work with you are gonna work with you regardless.
And I've pointed out to you, I've seen other people, and I'm like, yo, he don't sound like that. People I know in real life, and I'm like, yo, who's he trying to be? But that's the crazy part, because you have to be authentic. It just kind of like, there's chinks in the armor no matter how poised you try to be. The only dude that I feel has held it down for like 20+ years, shout out to Tom Brady. That guy's always like poised. I've never seen him bug out. I mean, on the field he bugs out, but on camera, it's like a robot, dude. I'm like, yo, this guy, he always got the greatest answers. Like, I'd be like, yeah, my teammates suck, and he couldn't catch the ball. That's why I went to Super Bowl. Like, bad game, bad calls.
Was he like that in the beginning too? Even when he first started?
Yeah. Always poised.
That's tough.
Scary, like sociopathic shit. But it is what it is, yo, man. He's the game.
Not everybody has that though.
Look at LeBron. LeBron is he's been in the game 20 years. He's maybe slipped once or twice, little, but not crazy slips. And look where he comes from. No college, no dad, no. And you got to give it to people like that,
Absolutely.
But he's on another level, right? Where you have, going back to what I was saying, like people that I know personally, and I'm like, yo, was he trying to sound more hood? Is he trying to get some street cred right now? What's he doing? Like,
or trying smarter.
You're a banker, bro. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? You're a realtor. You barely know how to add. I've been on deals with you.
The crazy
this
part
is nobody in particular.
You have to make sure the disclaimer's there.
This is nobody in particular. I'm just making shit up, right, guys?
There's a lot of people though that we've actually had to say no to in terms of creating content.
How do you say that though? Besides me saying no, you can't work with no, I'm just kidding.
It's more of, we start introducing new forms of creating content. Right? So video doesn't have to be everything. I can't sit there and tell you suck. Like I can't sit.
Wouldn't be good for business.
That would not be the right thing to do.
Bro, I fell asleep. Were you talking? Because I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
That has happened.
Okay.
Not fall asleep directly, but it's really just moving them towards other outlets. So
like what?
People forget that content isn't just video, right? Okay. You can have photography.
Okay.
You can create,
just pictures.
You can have design, right? So it's like quote cards, things of that nature. You can have blog. Right, okay. So you can have copywriting,
yeah, we have a copywriter in the house that has not helped me do shit yet, but shout out to Trey.
He's gonna
on the ones and twos.
While he's edit my shit right now. He's gonna cut it out.
Sorry, Omar, we didn't catch that part.
But yeah, there's other forms, and you can have audio,
right?
So some people just aren't good on camera, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't do anything.
Well, all right, let's open that up a little bit. Sure. I mean, what do you mean good on camera? What you mean by that is they're not good looking, or what you mean by that is that they're just not like good interacting with the camera?
Correct.
Or just, I mean, isn't that like an awkwardness that you can get over, or some people just can't get over that?
It would depend on how long are you willing to withstand that. If you're on the
other
side of the camera, so there might be people that can go longer. It's like, that's fine, but then it's also, it would be unethical for
me to take your money.
Exactly. It's like, I know this isn't gonna work for you long term. So number one, I don't want to waste my time with something that I believe won't be successful.
Right.
And then number two, you shouldn't waste your time with something that I don't think will generate you the results that you're looking for.
Okay. So how do you have that conversation?
I try not to, but I try to move them.
Let's figure this out together. This is to quote my son Jacob at Apple. That's their line. Let's figure this out together.
Is that really the Apple? That's how they're trained?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Why just get a cease and desist from Apple? Fuck you.
I might have to start using it. That might have to be
together. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of coaching that happens. A lot of coaching.
And then how much of that time? Not to go off a tangent, but I think people have to understand this, especially when they work with a marketing company and they feel like it should be like magic. How much time do you spend coach? Like, let's say you have a client, we have a 4-hour window, right? And you're coaching me through the same take. Yo, shout out to Orlando. We did this with you, actually. Yeah, we had to do the same take, and we had to break it down in different pieces. It was his first time, I'll give him that. But, you know, like, we have a 4-hour window to get content for the month, and I spent 3 hours coaching you through the first snip.
Yep.
What happens then?
At the end of the day, it's a learning experience for them, number one.
Right.
They realize, holy crap, number one, I'm not getting the volume for it, right? So people start self-realizing, like...
Right. Have you had somebody say, yo, JC, I don't think I'm good at this?
No, I don't think anybody's openly admitted it. Other than, like, not clients, when we've done one-off, like, productions.
Okay.
Where it's, like, someone that hasn't built a relationship. Because usually on a one-off production, they're still not in it yet. They're not, they don't want to do social. They just want a piece that they can showcase for whatever reason.
Right.
But when you come and you contract us, you're looking to build this long term. Okay. So whether you think you're good at it or not, you're going to keep going because it's already in your head.
Right. You're trying to figure it out.
Exactly. So our job is just to make sure that in the moment, we're getting as much as we can, helping you deliver it as best as possible in a way that can actually resonate with someone that's on the other side watching it, while still keeping the volume that you need to make a dent in anything that's happening in social right now. So it's like, you look at social in general, there's so many pieces of content that are being thrown your way. It's you're lucky if 10 to 20% of your audience actually sees what you're putting out right now that one time. If you're only doing one post a week, you're expecting 52 touch points out of 365.
Nah.
Like, that's not gonna work.
No, that's wild because also, I mean, I've noticed, so I think you told this to me. This was a quote you told me, and I really stuck with me. It was that if you pay attention. I think I told you the whole LinkedIn story, right? When they charged me $600, I was like, oh hell no, I gotta fucking post on that shit, because I feel like I gotta get some ROI, whatever that is. And I've seen a lot of guys that when I started a couple of years ago, it's been 3 years, right? Something like that.
I think we're coming up on
3 years, right? 30th anniversary, big party coming. They started and then they fell off.
Yeah.
Like, you have some guys, and I see some guys trying to come back on. And I've been constant. I mean, and it's not by no means easy. It's no means cheap, and it's not convenient sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think it becomes a part of just, you know, I have an ad in Rite Aid on Tremont Avenue. People say, yeah, I see you. I'll clean my hands with your shit. I have, you know, big billboards on my buildings. Yep. I have, you know, I've run paper ads and stuff like that. But this especially, you get the weirdest feedback. Like, I told you, anytime I get feedback, I give it to you so you understand what's working, what's not. I'll get a call at 7 o'clock in the morning saying, from one of my friends in Miami saying, yo, asshole, I saw your car on YouTube. I'm getting this car. I'm like, what? It's 7 o'clock in the morning, bro. But it just goes to show you. He's like, I was about to watch my show and then I saw your shit. Yeah. And it's to the people that are thinking about it, I think it's a must, right? It's a must. But it's a must, and it has to be a constant thing. Yeah. It has to be a constant thing, and you always got to try to reinvent things to be, you know,
stay fresh, stay
relevant, and also interesting. Yeah, right.
People get bored quickly, especially when they have so many options to go to.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're not a dynamic personality, you got to kind of know that, right? Yes. And if you don't know how to tell a story, then you should know that shit too. And if your business is kind of boring, then stick to, you know, whatever. Like, maybe what's that quote when you write quotes and shit?
Quote design.
A quote design. Maybe like, quote design on your Instagram.
Those are quote cards.
Because some things you just are not interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel that way. And some people try to make, and then you got the other side. You got the scammers. You know, shout out to the crypto people. They hit me up all the time. You know, I can teach you Bitcoin, this, that. I'm like, yo, my man, like, and now they're getting a little aggressive. Like, people that don't answer their DMs are rude. That's what I got. I was like, what?
Why?
Fuck you, Huko123, like whatever your name is.
Sally Mae.
But it's wild, bro. It's just wild, like the way the world is kind of changing, right? Because so much accessibility.
But that's what's making it harder, and that's why those who are better will rise to the top. You mentioned two things that I wanted to go into, because a lot of people go into this because they want to expand their audience, and it's like, that's important. Absolutely, you need that. But people forget that also your circle of influence over years will forget about you. Like, the people that you know, like I remember the first year we got started, you had somebody that hit you up off of LinkedIn that hadn't seen you in forever, hadn't talked, years. And then all of a sudden comes in and did a deal.
My other boy in Ohio, he was like, I was about to sign with Quicken, but I saw my man O on Facebook. I said, I fuck with O. He called me. You know what I mean? These are real stories. Yeah. My cousin, he's like, yo, I see you on TikTok, bro. You know what you're talking about. I'm like, nigga, you're my cousin. Of course I know what I'm talking about. Why you gotta see me on TikTok? I'm right here.
For you to say it.
Yeah, and then the wildest, like you can't, like back in the day, TikTok was the kids, right? The wildest people prefer the wildest platforms. Like you'll be like, what, Granny 123? Why are you on TikTok? And they'll hit me up, I saw your video. And I'm like, wow, like you never know anymore. Before you could kind of be like, oh, Facebook. Or, you know where it's come from. And now these conversations I'm having, like, yo, like YouTube is a thing now. People are, I think they're sleeping on that because YouTube is owned by Google and somehow the search engines are kind of correlating.
Well, it's all SEO. YouTube is one of those platforms that literally, if you don't understand keywords or understand thumbnails or understand headlines, you're not going to do well on it.
Well, why don't you explain to the audience what SEO means?
That's a good point.
Yeah, there you go.
I have a really bad tendency to just say acronyms, so please, thank you. So SEO is search engine optimization.
Right.
It's something that it's a word that's thrown out there or an acronym that's thrown out there. Everybody says it, but they have no idea what the hell it does.
Yeah, it's like Kim Kardashian at the White House trying to be a lawyer.
That's exactly it. I can't tell you how many times people come to us is like when we run ads, it's like, oh, you guys are doing like the SEO stuff and stuff, right? I was like, no.
How's my SEO looking?
That's not it at all. It's the complete opposite.
So that's not the proper way to use that word.
No.
How's my SEO look?
Definitely not.
I don't know, bro.
Definitely not. But yeah, that's...
So we'll explain how it works. Search engine optimization. So certain keywords will trigger and get more searches, more likes, more hits, or how does that work?
Correct. So when you go into SEO specific, it's heavy around written content. Okay. Right. So Google will rank different websites based off of the substance that it has. Right. So when you look at Google, what is the thing that people are doing on Google? They're typing in questions.
Searching. Right.
That's exactly it. Right. They want to find out things that are near them, or they want to find out answer to things. Right. So if let's say, cool, we'll stick to the real estate industry. If you are a mortgage broker and you created a piece of content, written content, that was answering what are FHA loans and how can you get one, all of a sudden you place those keywords, right? So let's say FHA, I'm not going to get super technical for those that are out there, but like they have concepts of H1, P1s, things of that nature. Where you place them on the site literally matters.
Okay.
The pictures that you use on your blog literally matter.
Okay.
Right. So it's like every photo will have meta descriptions, right? So you can infill that as well, and then that helps you rank higher.
But let's not forget that some people have to understand that sometimes you rank higher because you pay to rank higher, not just because you know how to write shit.
So that is the difference on SEO and PPC. So I'm glad you just say that.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Pay per click.
I know shit.
So I'm glad that you said that. You can bypass all of that by paying if you wanted to, but you're always going to be there.
You just want to be top, and hopefully you get the ROI on your money.
Correct.
Return on investment, guys. Yeah.
So you can
the acronym fucking show.
that's all we're doing today. It's just full of acronyms.
Everything's acronyms.
You can
flexing our fucking degrees right now.
The degree in psychology. That's what it was. But if I wanted to outrank you, let's say, what is an FHA? That's a long tail keyword, right? I can pay Google to say, hey, I will spend money on against the person that's not, or the person that is spending money. I'll spend more than them, and I want to come out number one.
Right. Yeah. I'll spend them.
And you can get the click, you can get the traffic, just like that. But you're subjected to always paying. Whereas,
so here now we're in your dimension. Where do you think is the best bang for your buck in terms of paid advertising right now?
It depends on your industry.
Really?
It depends on your industry.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. If you're in the you have a product-based business that is low ticket, like tchotchke type of things.
Like $10 or less?
Yeah.
Okay.
TikTok ads.
TikTok ads
are gonna blow through the water for you.
Okay.
If you are a local business, service-based
and you want to drive people to your location,
you're gonna want to do Google ads, right?
Google ads,
specifically, if you're also a business that requires a lot of trust, such as a lawyer.
Okay.
Such as
a high ticket.
Correct.
Right. Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay.
You can get away with a lower ticket service-based business on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
So if you're running Facebook ads, like if you're just a yoga studio, you want to do a killer offer, like come in for your free class, do one amazing piece of content that showcases what you do, how you do it, and then speak about the offer that you have. Run that within a 5 to 10 mile radius. target some people that are interested in yoga. And if you know that it's mostly women in your location, target just women, ages 25 to 45.
To work your demographic, right?
That's exactly it. Okay. So you can run that, but the creative is just as important as the knowing how to target.
Right.
So if you have a crappy piece of content,
a lot of people are gonna see that crappy piece of content.
That's exactly
it works together.
Yeah.
People have to understand that. It's like saying, "Yo, man, I did push-ups today. Why can't I bench 315 tomorrow?" Takes a little time, bro. Takes a little time. Maybe a little more time. I'm reading a lot that TikTok is being used as a search engine now.
Yes.
What's the truth on that? Because now you're the guru of everything, search engine media.
I wouldn't say the guru, honestly.
If fucking Rosenberg and them can be the relationship gurus at 9 o'clock in the morning, then you're the fucking guru of this. I'll crown you that real fast.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's new. You're finding a lot of the younger demographic going to TikTok over Google to find answers to questions that they're looking for.
And does it have a search engine?
Yeah.
It does.
So it has a search bar. Same thing for.
Is it going to Google? They have their own thing.
No. Within the actual platform, right? Okay. So a lot of how-to videos, do it yourself, like things that are like very YouTube crafty. Shit. Yeah. Right? Okay. Very similar, but it's short form content. Right. So and it's
digestible.
TikTok style.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. Which is why that demo prefers doing, like, they'd rather watch a 30 to 40 second video that teaches them what they need in that moment, have fun with it at the same time, then go on Google and read a 2,000 word article that tells them the exact same thing. They're not reading.
How many kids do I see right now that are like 18 and below that just watch they're watching other people on TikTok. To me, I don't know what the hell they're watching. I'm talking about my son right now and his friends. I'm like what are you actually doing? You watching, bro? Like, what is that? And they just,
scroll into
it's the data is crazy
and it's very addictive. It's like if you scroll, I don't know if this has happened, but I heard about it and I was like, all right, I want to test it out. If you scroll long enough, TikTok literally has different videos or ads. They'll put them on there based off of like your usage within that time. Right. That'll tell you, hey, you should probably take a break. You've been, really? I swear to God.
Fatigue.
Yeah. So it's like they also try to look out for their users. Supposedly, right? That's one way to be user facing to see that.
The evil Chinese TikTok fight dance. Yeah.
Well, that's their play at looking out. When in reality, they're just taking all of your data.
So I read yesterday that Texas was thinking about passing a law: people under 18 can't use social media. What do you think about that? I haven't seen that. They presented the bill. I don't know if they passed it yet, but they presented the bill. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I think it's the wrong move. Okay. Because that's where the world is going regardless. So if I'm looking at my children, when I have children.
Almost, not yet.
Stop it. Might be listening. So if I'm looking at my children.
Trey gave the eyebrows.
He came up over there. Listen, we'll focus on the kids. Focus on the kids. Under 18. I would want them to be exposed. Okay. Because they have to know it. Right. But I'd rather teach them how to control it and be a producer rather than a consumer. That's the difference there. Yeah. So if you teach them how to be on the other side of the fence, there's a lot of leverage that you can pull out. Yeah. Just within media, just with understanding how humans actually perceive you online, how they perceive your businesses and things of that nature. I want them to be on that side, but not everyone understands that. They just think, hey, social media is bad, social media is bad. Don't get me wrong. Are there people that have negative effects from social? Absolutely, right? But
all right, let me add to that. Hold on, to stop that thought. I think that a lot of people have pre-existing things. Yeah. Right, and so social media just becomes the medium that it manifests. If it wasn't social media, it'd be something else. But I think that it's getting the blame because there's certain deficiencies in people that are just there, and just maybe social media just makes it easier to see.
That's what I was going to say. It's how it expedites it. Right. And it makes it so easily available and accessible where you can find the things that trigger those moments for others. So like if you suffer from self-consciousness and you're scrolling on Instagram and all you see is a bunch of IG models all the time, you're going to think your self-worth is less. Whereas...
Do you really believe that?
For that person that has that actual kind of concept, I would say so.
I mean, look, I come from a different place, man. I got a couple years on you. I remember there was no social media, there was no phone, so we got chopped up by our friends. So we built that tough skin because if you couldn't take it for your friends, you go on the street, you take it for somebody else, you go home and cry. Yeah. So, but I believe that the new generation doesn't have that. They don't have that. I don't know what to call it. I don't want to say call it gladiator school. I call it like, like
school of
just,
hard knocks.
Just that, just, like understand like some of it isn't that heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like you're chubby, all right, stop eating the cake, and you can change that. It doesn't have to be who you are. And I feel that some people feel that they're there and that's it, and this is who they have to be.
Yeah.
I was reading David Goggins last night. Shout out to Ronnie, thank you for the book. I already started on page 25. And he said that he was born a loser. I forgot. I don't want to misquote it, but born losers. And some people hear that and they're like, oh, fuck you, I'm not a loser. No, but I understood what he meant, and what he means. And this is my interpretation. A born loser is somebody who's born with low expectation because they weren't given a lot of opportunity. Like you're not growing into a family that was educated. You're not growing, and I identify with that. A born loser, like man, I wasn't supposed to be where I'm at right now. But you can change all that. I think that some people kind of become like accepting of this is and Howard Schultz, I said this in an interview on LinkedIn, and it stood with me forever. He was like, never let somebody tell you your stewardship of life, meaning don't let somebody else dictate where you're supposed to be. If and here comes the crazy part, the hard work, guys. You can work at it. You don't have to stay stuck there. And I listen, man. There's so many stories of that parallelism about the two sons, the alcoholic father, all that stuff. Like these are all lessons, and I feel like I feel that some of them are losing that. Like, and I don't know, like you guys don't, and I say you guys, I mean the younger generation. Like we faced different shit. We faced absentee fathers. We faced crack epidemic. We faced AIDS. Some wild shit. You think about it, and social media is a mental thing now, and mental shit is really harder to. I don't want to say cure. That's not the word. Yeah, it's harder to correct, right? Because it's forever. You can't see it. It's not like, oh, I broke my leg, I'm limping.
It's intangible.
Yeah. So how do we teach this generation? Hey, man, it doesn't have to be this way.
That's so.
We went from marketing to fucking fixing the youth. We're here to fix the youth.
No, I love it because I think they can go hand in hand. I mean, you think about the outlet that we have right now. It's the exposure to messages like this. Yeah. Right. The media and mainstream media right now forever have lived
always
off fear.
Right.
Yeah. Like that's what they want. That's want what they sell. Fear and propaganda.
Yeah.
What social has done has allowed for people who actually have the beliefs that can take you forward, create a platform that get others to see that.
And spread the gospel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And look, everything is subjective to most people, right? Your opinion is your opinion. There are people that are going to be soft about it. There's going to be people that are going to say, hey, you should be doing this, you should be grinding, whatever the case may be. But you have to choose what message you want to let in.
Right.
And you have that choice. And you can scroll through social right now. Your algorithm will tell me right now the person that you are.
Really? Like, there's a way to read that?
Well, just think about the content that they're being fed. Right. So it's like if you're interacting with positive messages all the time, you're interacting with business content all the time, you're interacting with personal development.
They feed you more of that.
Absolutely. But if you like, oh, Kim Kardashian did this, or hey, who's dating who? Like it's just like all that fake stuff. That's what you're gonna see, and it's gonna tell me that hey, this is what you react to, and it's like that's fine, but don't be mad when you get upset over the smallest things.
I remember something. I'm gonna give you an example of parallelism in the 90s, early 90s. I graduated college in 97. I was supposed to graduate in 96, but in the early 90s, I remember somebody told me, tell me what newspaper you read, and I'll tell you what kind of person you are. It used to be, I don't even know if they're around anymore, the New York Post, which was fucking just gossip.
New York Times.
Daily News. No.
Oh, not
and
New
the New York Times.
Okay.
No, New York Times. So based on one of those, if you told me which one you read every day, I could tell you what kind of person you were, because I could tell you what your interests were and stuff like that. So I thought of that what you just said, because I'm like, and then there's the Inquirer, the Star, all that bullshit, which isn't really newspapers, but aliens everywhere. And now there really were aliens. Yeah. Shout out to the pandemic telling them about aliens. But it's true. It's like I read all three, so I don't know what that says about me, but I read all three of them.
Hey, it means you're diverse. That's it.
I just want to know a little about everything. I was like, yeah.
That's okay. You have the information. It's okay to have information accessible. It's which one you
as long as you know how to filter, right? And you know how to filter. And I think Jay-Z said this in an interview with Kevin Hart, and I resonated with it. He was like, look, we have so much information about understanding. right? And I think that's what I'm kind of getting at right now in terms of what I see the younger generation. They have all this access. You know, they can Google anything. They can Google how to make a bomb, right? Like, or 3D guns and shit like that. Like shit that I wouldn't know how to do. But they don't understand, like, you know, they could do some damage to themselves and other people. And I guess that's the fear of the parent, because they don't know how to connect. They don't know how to connect the kid and be like, hey man, that, you know, what'd you do today? What'd you do? You know, like me and my wife always have like a debrief where one of our son who works at Apple, he'll come and tell about his day. And
what are we solving today?
We'll josh with him, right? Like yesterday he had like a thing, a lady was kind of it was his one thing. He's like, you know, I usually let it go, but it kind of bothered me. And I was like, bro, it was her problem, not yours. Remember that. Don't make it your problem. You know, she came into it with the baggage. You got to just know, and that's sales. You got to kind of let it go. You know, you're there to help solve a problem or sell a product, and then once they're gone, and hopefully you get a good review. But I don't think a lot of kids get that, right? They have to deal with their shit on their own, and they're fucking smart friends that usually not that smart.
It's also that they haven't gone through the hardship. They haven't experienced life, because think about the world that we live in. Everything is right there at your fingertips. Like they want to get something delivered, they can have it tomorrow with a tap of their finger. It's like back then you used to have to walk to school, not just get picked up and driven on a bus all the time, right? Like you don't know what the public transportation actually looked like. We would have to go in, it's like, all right, wake up in the morning, take the 36 bus, then to the train, then to walk back to school and do it all over again.
Through the hood and dress clothes.
Actually though.
Let's add that.
Uniform.
Let's add that in a uniform through the hood stuff. Where you're passing the project and guys are like, yo man, where you going? And you're like, oh, I'm going to school, leave me alone.
What time is it? It's like, you don't want to pull out your phone. Like that's real stuff.
I don't know, man, I'm late.
That's it. I just got to go. But that's real. And it's like, if you haven't experienced life and all you've been subjected to is kind of just an easy form of living, you're going to be susceptible to all this BS. Yeah. It's going to penetrate your mind because you haven't built any mental toughness. There's no mental fortitude at all.
When you call them out on it, then they want to get mad and be like, yo, I'm tough. And like, you're not tough, bro. Stop. So I'll make you cry right now. Like, oh, shut up. And then, you know, like you end up. But what the crazy part I'll say is also, I get approached by a lot of my friends to talk to their kids. And I'm like, I'm not saying anything different than the parents are saying, but they just listen because it's me and not mom or dad. And yo, just tell them what we talked about. I'm like, all right, man, listen, this is what you should do. He's like, yo, dad, we should do this. He's like,
isn't that what we just said?
Thanks, so. Yeah, it's fucking brilliant. It was brilliant.
It could be also.
Hand me a piece of paper. I'm like, I think you should do this.
And it's separate to the mom and dad thing too. It could be also a persona thing. Like, I mean, I don't know who the parents are, but if the dad isn't as perceptually strong as you or financially there, it's like, hey, they may not respect their dad the way that they respect you, and that just is natural.
I don't know, man. Listen, I have my own challenges. I have my own challenge with my 3 sons, right? Like they're all very different, and they're all, you know, like, again, I'm just dad. Like maybe to their friends, I'm somebody. To their parents, I'm pretty cool. But I mean, not to their friends' parents, I'm cool. But to them, I'm just.
Just dad.
Yeah, come on, man, stop.
Makes
man.
sense. It's the concept of familiarity.
Yeah,
it's
man.
like if you're just there all the
dad,
time.
take me to school. I'm like, what? Yo, no, man, take an Uber. And it becomes. It takes a village. Yeah. I feel, and I have a really cool, eclectic group of friends, and we all kind of try to help each other because I feel that before, and when I say before, I mean when I grew up, everything's very, very private. Like especially Latino Spanish people, they were very, very fucking embarrassed about anything. So like if they whipped your ass, you had to stay home until your welts dried up and shit like that. You know, I know it's subject to abuse, but that's the way it was. It was like, you're not coming out till your bruises heal. I'm like, okay.
So you knelt on the cheese grater. It's like, all right, you gotta clean it up first.
Here's the rice. I'm like, and now, you know, we're trying this new thing, and it's a whole new world because I forgot what was I watching? I was watching something with the kids. I was like, yeah, back in the day you could hit your kids. Now you can't even talk crazy because you talk crazy on the street. Somebody call the cops on you.
Yeah.
I don't like what that guy's talking to that kid about. I don't know if that's his son. You should check that out. Like it gets a little crazy. Like society has kind of warped a little bit, and you know, and going back to social media with it, like I guess our fear as parents, and I don't know if there should be fears because I think in the 80s, walking around during crack, I mean, you likely get shot, stabbed for sneakers, going to get milk. Then these kids are online, but like I said, the mind you can't see anything, And I guess there's that unknown because like you have stalkers online, or you have catfishing, right? You have people
bullying.
There's just it's just a whole new world of crazy. I don't even know how we got from marketing and advertising to that.
It all goes hand in hand though, because you can do that on social too. Like all of a sudden you get a DM by somebody telling you, how many times don't people get caught with just schemes of either meeting up with somebody for whatever the case may be, and it's just accessible to communication. Like it's accessibility to communication. What is the communication that you're receiving, and what is the communication that you're giving? Right.
I mean, look at my page. My page has been copied a couple of times now, and I'm like, what are they copying it for? What the fuck? Like, how boring must you be? Like, but I'm guessing they, if I don't know if they were asking for money yet. I don't know what that.
They use the brand.
That's exactly what it is. And I'm like, yo, man, this is crazy. Like, now you got to watch that shit. And like, how do you like, luckily I get the text, or I told you the story that time about my wife coming in and be like, you just unfollowed me and followed me. I'm like, what? I'm looking at my phone, sweating and shit. Like Key,
when did I do that?
Key and Peele. I'm like, what? And luckily, it was a hack page. Yeah, it was a hack page.
They're slick with it too. They'll just put like a little underscore or a little period outside of like your username.
So they're trying to use the trust that you've built with people.
That's exactly it.
And try to, take advantage.
And you'll usually only see that with pages that have some sort of notoriety to them. Right. At least you'll see it the most, right? Because of the fact that it's like, hey, there's more of a mass audience here. They've already built that know factor, that like factor, that trust factor. If I tell you, hey, get into this crypto whatever.
Yeah, send me $500.
You're going to be much more likely to do it.
Yeah. Like, I believe this guy.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And that's why they take all the content that's on your page and then put it on that fake page for the same reason, right? It's there. So it just validates them.
But it's happened to your page too.
It did.
And what did your page ask for? What did they ask for?
It was all crypto stuff.
It was crypto stuff?
It was all crypto stuff.
Why are you embarrassed, bro?
Yo, I had people hit me up. I mean,
did they send money?
No, they were close. Wow. I actually had to. It was a friend of a friend. Like, my friend texted me saying, hey, my friend said that you were doing this. You wouldn't do this, right? I was like, no.
You wouldn't do this.
It was like, I was going to send it to. I knew him from that. I was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it at all.
Yeah. So here's the great new chasm, right? Before it was catch me if you can, making fake
telephone
checks.
Scams,
like before, send me money. Oh, there was a great scam back in the day. I don't know if this is before your time, where they would say, yo, somebody, I called the cops on this one. They called me, they're like, hey man, this guy paid me to kill you.
What the hell?
But I swear to God, this happened. This happened like early 2000s. And I was like, what? I had just come back from Cancun or something like that. So he was like, yeah, I saw you, but if you give me $5,000, don't worry about it. I feel bad about doing it. I'm like, what? So, you have kids and a wife. You like, yo.
Yeah.
So I ran to the cops, of course.
Did they say it was
they traced the call. Yeah, they did the whole thing. They're like, this guy's like in DR somewhere right now. He's like, don't worry about it. But I'm just thinking about a real thing that happened to me. And now here we are on these phones where people can touch you really fast. Because if you're slick, you watch somebody's, and that's why I got a little better with stories and stuff like that. I kind of post after, because people could kind of trace you, and they could be like, yo, I'm over here, I'm over there. I mean, look at the rappers that are getting killed, hanging out, and that shit is crazy. And so, it's a great tool, right, to help your business, but in the wrong hands, it's a scary tool.
Absolutely,
it's a scary tool because now and people want to, like, everybody wants to be a little famous, right? So they want to be out there. Yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm my gold watch. I'm like, yo, bro, turn off your fucking location services, bro. Like, like that scared me a couple. Like, Instagram had a thing where you could look at where you're at.
Geotag the photos.
Yeah. I was like, hell no, I turned off the whole family. I turned them all off. Yeah,
it's like, don't do it.
Yeah. What's the scariest thing that's happened to you online?
I wouldn't call it scary. This was
because I don't know any fear.
No. This wasn't fear, but I would say the realest thing. Yeah. I had this one dude that was following me for a while, and he would hit me up here and there and just like, hey, your videos are great, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. There was a moment where he told me, yo, and this sounds so made up. I wish I was kidding. I wish I could find the DM. I'm sure it's in there deep because it was years ago. But he told me he was ready to kill himself. And moments of motivation, and he's mentioned like my page, other pages, etc., is what kept him out of it.
Wow.
And it was like, I'm like, that's real stuff.
That's fucking heavy.
Yeah, like it came and it got me by surprise, and I'm like, is this really making that much of an impact? Like back then I didn't talk about, when I first got started, I didn't have the skills to talk about marketing yet.
Okay.
So all I talked about was personal development, motivational
shit you knew, shit you were doing.
Yeah, it was really it, because what got me inspired was listening to Eric Thomas.
Right.
So I went through a time where I felt like I'm not doing shit with my life. Like I'm just not there. It's when I was really young, like first getting into college, I was new to a lot of things. And Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher, if you guys know him, check him out.
Yeah.
But that's what got me going.
And just so you know, he's the guy who talks like this.
He start yelling at everybody.
You know what I'm saying?
That was it.
I love guys like that.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's great. So it was like that inspired me to like get in the game. And it was, I look back at my videos, I'm like, I was corny as hell. But I was like, you know what though? When I saw that moment, I was like, hey, if this is really the case and this guy wasn't BSing, I'm like, all right, it was worth it.
Well, corny is necessary for others.
True.
I think. I mean, because like everybody has points of. Let me use this the right way. There's certain points of aspiration that are real to people, right? So they might hear a story. A young kid might hear a story from like a guy like Elon Musk, and that shit is so far away.
Can't even be attainable.
He's like, nah, it's just so far removed.
Yeah.
Like because he hasn't done anything yet. So you gotta have a certain belief in yourself to even say, yo, I could build a rocket. I go to Mars. But hearing it from you, or hearing it from E.T., or hearing it from even David Goggins. David Goggins is a great example. I think he's a little extreme, but listen. But sometimes you need extreme. Sometimes you need extreme. Sometimes you need extreme, because only extreme things can get you out of certain situations, right? But to be extreme 100% of the time, all the time, is exhausting.
Yeah.
Right. I've tried it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn a little better balance, because you can go 100%, something will break, right? And then you got to kind of stop everything. So usually I try to do what they call cycling method. You know, I'll go hard and I'll take a week off, and then I'll go hard, just to kind of give myself some normalcy too, because living with an extreme person is not fucking fun. Like, it's cool to, like, Andy Frisella, yo, fuck you, dude. Come on, man. Like, every day. So you
say the same shit, man.
Yeah. Yo, all my friends are fucking rich. Yo, bro, relax, all right? Like, come on, man. Like, even the rich have issues, right? Like, and let's not, let's be real. Health is a thing that no money win. Like, no amount of money will save you from that. So, I'm kind of like, I try to be real, not to use the word of real Omar, be real with people so they can understand, you can achieve. And it doesn't have to be miserable. Yeah. I think a lot of people try to associate success with being miserable. There are moments of inconvenience. There are moments of, I don't want to say despair, but I'll say they're just uncomfortableness, right? And I don't want to be the corny guy that says, yo, you got to be comfortably uncomfortable. Shout out to Darren. But no, listen, you gotta embrace the suck a little bit, and it gets better. And it's not that it gets better or changes. What happens is that you get stronger. You get stronger mentally and physically and financially, and even like we talk about this off camera all the time. Like, as we all try to level up, there'll be a second or two where you're like, yo, did I make the right decision?
Like,
no,
you're like,
did I pull the trigger on the wrong thing?
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah.
You got to wait for the story to finish to really find out. And you just got to work at it. And I believe words by itself don't matter. When you believe in what you're saying, that's what matters, right? That's what matters. Because you can, like, people say, like, I don't want to bring this up, but like, if you've ever seen a really racist person say something racist, you're like, oh, it's ugly. Like, you see that shit, you're like, damn, right? But if you hang out with your boys and they use the N-word, I want to get canceled right now. Where I grew up, not saying now. When I grew up in the 80s and 90s, like, I was a young kid, we were all broke. We were all poor. We were all that word. We weren't nothing. There was nobody better than nobody. We were all in the struggle together, and we were all like crabs in a barrel. So, but yeah, going back to, like, I believe the belief in what you're saying changes everything.
It's what gives the action, though, too.
Yeah.
Like,
because you believe. Yeah. If you believe, you're in. You're all in, right? You're like, oh, I got to do this. Well, why? Because this is what's gonna happen. Like, and it all comes from your belief system. And it goes back to now we'll talk into. I got to talk on this a little bit with you, because you said that, and your story is real. It's credible. If you help somebody stay alive, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But all the guys that are out there, preaching and being self-help. Guys, you gotta understand, man. We all use the same words. You gotta believe in it, and that belief will then dictate the actions behind it. I mean, I'm not trying to cure everything, but I'm just saying, like, I think that's a misconception. And I'm not trying to hurt nobody's business. Like, if you have to go to these unleash your giant within shit. That's cool. Yo, some people need that. That's cool. But you should be the first one unleashing your shit, because I mean, if you, I was talking, I think, to the kid last time. You know, it's, if you have the ability, it's your absolute responsibility to do it, bro. For all the guys behind you, for all the guys who got cut down short that didn't get to live this life, or the guys that wish they had, but you know, things just went against them. It's your absolute responsibility. And I think if you serve a higher purpose than yourself, it becomes easier to propel forward, because, you know, if you serve yourself, it's almost like selfish. It's like kind of like, then you start having that whole narcissistic attitude. Yo, am I doing the right thing? You know, like, you know, how many cars I want, how many houses I'm gonna buy, you know, and I'm hanging out by myself all the time. Like, it becomes that. But if you propel and you believe and you want everybody to come up, I think it's long game, but you make an impact. You make an impact, and if all your boys are doing something, all of a sudden, you know, you could make a 5 phone call thing, and you guys could do something crazy where, you know, if you got a whole bunch of people doing nothing, you gotta make a 5,000 phone call.
You just to find the 5 out of the 5,000.
You got $100. You know, like, it becomes that game. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you got to be wary of who you're around too, because other people's self-limiting beliefs will affect you no matter how strong you are, because they'll always be like, you think you should, and then even if it's a second or two, that delay compounds. And not just that transaction, every transaction, right? Are you sure? And then you're like, am I sure? Like, you know.
It literally feels like osmosis. Like your personality type and the habits that you build and the beliefs that you have come from those around you, right? So it's like what you surround yourself with. It's corny as hell. The law association is real. That's exactly what happens. They have the quote, the 4 people that you hang around with, the most, you're the 5th, right? In terms of like what it is. So if you don't put yourself in those circles, you're always going to be subjected to all the other beliefs that don't serve you. They don't put you in the places that you need to be. And then don't complain when you start asking, why am I doing nothing with your life? It's like, are you around people that are doing things with their lives? Yeah. If you're not, then maybe you should change that. You should look in the mirror.
And if you're not, maybe it's because you're not in the right places, right? Like you want to lose weight? Go to the gym. If you don't have the self-discipline. Don't just look
at the mirror and say, oh yeah, I look great. Self-affirmation. Self-affirmations only get you so far. You can't talk about feeling good. Like,
abs. I mean, look, it takes a special type of animal, and I'm a special type of animal. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm built a little funky.
Built different.
Yeah, to wake up 4 or 5 in the morning, go into my own garage at 20 degrees with frozen dumbbells and get it in. Sometimes it's better than others, but you get it in anyway. You get it in anyway, because you build that discipline, and it just bleeds into everything. You're like, I don't really want to talk to this client, but I got to do it. Or I don't really want to make this call, but I got to, and it just kind of, you know, that one more concept, that one more, and all of a sudden you never give up. Whereas a lot of people, they end up just stopping because it's not convenient, or it's kind of hard, or they thought it was gonna be hard, and it never even started.
Yeah.
Right. And it goes back to what I just said. It's the belief. If you believe it will suck, it will suck, bro. It's all perspective. Like, you know, like, embrace it.
I was gonna say, even if it does suck, say it sucks and do it anyway.
Yeah, finish it.
Like,
finish it up.
Finish it.
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
Get through it. Because if you do it there, you do it in everything.
Yeah.
Right. And going back into marketing and advertising and branding, what we're saying is that in the beginning it may be hard. You might not know where you're starting. You might not know what you want to talk about. But I think that's the part where having a marketeer company, is that the word? Marketing company. Marketeer, I made a new word up. Could help you, because I think you got to know what the message is going to be to the world. And make no mistake, if your shit sucks, they'll just help people find out you suck faster. So make sure your shit is tight before you try to grow, right? The concept of scaling is a big thing. Everybody, I'm gonna scale. Scale what, bro?
Yeah, we show what's already there.
Yeah,
that's,
right.
That's exactly
so
it.
They're not making it up. They're just accentuating what you are. So if it needs to tighten up, tighten it up.
First.
Tighten it up.
Work on yourself first, then call us. That's about it.
All right, before I leave you, top 5 all-time NBA.
Oh, man. Are we going to end every episode with these now? We need
I'm gonna
I think we're going to have to.
Well, with Luke, we should have hit top 5 rappers all time.
That's what it was.
We should definitely have that. Yeah.
I'm going to get heat. I already got heat.
Don't worry, Trey's not looking.
He's not. It has to be LeBron, Kobe, MJ. By the way, not in particular order.
Oh, now that I was damn.
I don't think I have them in particular order. I'm just saying them out loud. Kareem, And then this is the one that I get heat for because he's still in the game.
Light skin?
I just think he changed the game. Steph.
Skin? Yeah, light
skin.
Yeah,
I think it's Steph.
Man, I don't know about Steph, man. I don't know. You can hit me up on we can talk on YouTube, Steph, if you want to hit me. But I'm going to go MJ, LeBron, of course, and he's still going, but he's 20 years in the game looking like he's 20.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody gets heat for LeBron saying he's still in the game.
He's 20 years in here.
I guess he's
about to pass Kareem.
Yeah, he's undeniable.
The all-time scoring champion.
Yeah. What is he? He's like 600 points away, I think.
Yeah, right? He'll get it. MJ, LeBron. I love Kobe. He does have some, he's a great personality. He has some defects.
You're being skewed.
A lot of people just kind of like,
You're skewed by what you heard over there. That's Kobe's top 5. There's no deny.
All right, hold on. And then, I'm a Nets fan. I've been watching my man KD. He's looking crazy. He's looking pretty crazy lately, man. I'll go Kareem with you guys, but I'll also say he's making a case for himself. He needs a few more years.
I was gonna say he needs,
but he's looking nasty out there, man.
I'll put him top 10.
He's nasty, man. Yeah, tarantula. Yo, shout out to KD and Rich Kleiman. Yo, be on the show. Stop playing already. And we'll end it there. So if people need to contact you for marketing services, where should they contact you?
You can shoot me a DM.
1-800.
Keep it to social. JC.Polonia, Polonia.
And there we have it, boys and girls. Anything you want to see on the show, please hit us up. If you want to have a show like this, you can't, but you could ask JC if he'll host the show, and we'll see you next time.